What's up, y'all? It's Cecil West, Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com. Back again with the one and only Jonathan Lippy. And we call him the man with the best beard and bone.
I am Matthew Weaver.
And this is your question of the week. This week's question of the week is sponsored by the book Hell's Good Guy.
Hell's Good Guy is a scripted story charged with trauma, triumph, and duplicity. Situated in a high-tech temple, the recently deceased Alex is facing an afterlife trial to secure a place in heaven. Alex, the book's protagonist, has no memory of his death, and the fully informed gatekeeper is unable to share the information with him. Can Alex unlock the truth about his demise and make it to heaven?
I want to remind everybody that the link to purchase this book online is in the description of the video, and you can find them all at linktr.ee/hellsgoodguy. So this week's question, guys, is very similar to the theme of the book Hell's Good Guy, and I really look forward to everyone's answer. I know everybody likes a multiple choice, so I'm going to throw a couple at you. If you as a fan had to support and promote one of four difficult choices, which option would you push and why? Your choices are as followed. Bone continues to focus on all of their current projects, or Bone signs a lucrative record deal at a major record label with Bone having full creative control, or Bone partners with Ruthless Records to promote the releasing of all previously unheard Ruthless-owned Bone music, or number four, Bone solely works as executives of a guaranteed 22-episode TV series based around their entire career.
Everybody got choices.
Multiple.
Make bread.
Multiple choices here. So
Yep.
we're gonna. I mean, unless you're uncomfortable this time around going first, John, you're the leadoff.
I got the leadoff, man. I'm a leadoff hitter, Ricky Henderson style, bro. So I'm gonna give you tidbits and stipulations and whatever. I like the choices, but I'm gonna have to give some mods and explanations. So number one, Bone continues to focus on all their current projects. No way. Where's that gotten us? Tremendous mediocrity. Two, so one is out of the question. I don't want one. I don't want one at all. I want Bone with the label. I want the whole professional angle. I don't want mixtapes. I never wanted mixtapes from anybody. Two, Bone signs a lucrative record deal at a major record label with Bone having full creative control. No way. I want Bone to have no creative control, and I want all the record executives and all the people in the studio making all the choices. I have 20 years of Bone having full creative control. I want to see a fully produced thing where Bone is basically the actors, the performers, and professional people that do this for a living to maximize profit, maximize the audience, maximize the mainstreamness of it. And why this, everything I said sounds horrible. Horrible, Johnny. Why would you say these things? Well, it's because these are the things you need to do to get Bone back to the top of the mountaintop. You need that fully produced corporate television commercialized thing. So if this is that big current project, I want it to be all the way corporate. I want Bone to just have to basically show up and smile for the camera and do their ditty to get back to that top, back to that Grammy, back to that Billboard, all that. Let's take a look at three. Bone partnered with Ruthless Records to promote the releasing of all previously unheard Ruthless-owned Bone music. That one's really tempting. But how strange. I mean, it's worth a shot because it would be the first time a group got together with a label 20 plus years after the fact to promote an album that they essentially recorded 20 plus years ago that was never released, and do the rounds and try to shop it and say, hey, come buy all of our old stuff. You want it. And we do want it. So that would be kind of neat. And then four, Bone solely works as executives of a guaranteed 22-episode TV series based around their career. If they weren't as the sole executives, if this was the staff that made the Boneless Thugs in Harmony, commercial for Buffalo Wild Wings, I would completely want this as the number one. That this would be my choice. A 22 episode boneless Thugs and Harmony style. Yes, thumbs up to that. If it's that Thug TV with Lazy Bone yelling at Busy Bone over speakerphone over the voicemail, I don't want that. I don't want Lazy with a video camera on the streets asking people if he's their favorite member. But if it's in studio style, if it's with the professional production crew, sound stage, writers, comedy, guys acting out of character. Oh, and Steve Lobel's got to be in it too. If it's that whole cast from Boneless Thugs and Harmony, I want that style as a TV series. But I also would like a total commercialized professional record label album where Bone doesn't have the input. And I do want a bunch of unreleased albums to come out. But if it's Boneless Chicken, that's my number one pick. What you guys got?
Okay. I just want to be sure. So out of the 4 options, you're picking this 22 episode TV series. As long as it's that professional
with comedy. I don't want gangsterfied, we're thugs in the hood. I want comedy and like fake beef between the group. Lazy Bone upset that they changed the name and everybody else trying to convince him Lazy's not changing shit. I mean, it doesn't have to be the same storyline, but I want that same dynamic where there's conflict, but it's comedic conflict. And the guy that's getting the conflict on him, he's, pretending to be upset about it. So it's, nobody's feelings get hurt. It's all for comedic effect, but it's also got some serious tone to it.
So
basically, you want the whole dynamic of that show.
It sounds like you want, and I know you haven't seen it, but it sounds like you want the Lil Dicky TV show Dave, but by Bone instead. Because Lil Dicky's Dave show is like, it's about his career and it's based on his career and it has all kinds of real things that happen in his career. But then there's all this funny made for TV shit that bridges it all together. That may not have been real. A bunch of it's based on real, but a bunch of it's just like, haha, for TV.
Yeah. A Bone Thugs and Harmony sitcom. I want a situation comedy with the Bone members. Because I mean, every time they've tried it, it's worked great. When they're in that busy, when
they are hilarious. Like,
yeah.
But listen, would you be upset as a fan if they do this Dave style? We'll call it Bone. The whole show is just called Bone. They do this show called Bone on FX, and this is how they blow back up again.
I would love that.
It's not from their music. It's not from anything. Flesh and Bone is a fucking superstar now. There are kids that are 17 and 19. They don't know anything about THUGS. They're just like, oh yeah, no, I know Flesh from Bone.
That would be
He's
totally
right after
awesome.
Dave.
Think about it, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? Like after a couple seasons, people forgot that he was Fresh Prince the rapper. They thought he was Fresh Prince the actor, and then he totally turned into Fresh Prince the Hollywood biggest star of all time before The Rock. So like I'm all for that. And not only that time, and I'm talking sitcom, but when I asked Busy Bone in that interview we did, if you could be any character, what would you be? He instantaneously said vampire. And I was like, dog, I gotta have that too. So it's a
they're on the Blade
with vampires.
Blade soundtrack. Blade. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I just want you to know, by the way, that a fan made a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan trailer that was very seriously toned instead of being a comedy. And it did so well that it got picked up, and it's actually gonna be on Peacock. It's a serious TV show, like new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's called Just Bel-Air. And it got picked up, and it was a fan trailer, and Will Smith thought it was so great that he got behind it. They got it picked up. So, you mentioned Fresh Prince, so I wanted to let you know. All right, John is going with a reality based comedy.
Actually, I prefer it to be situation comedy. It doesn't even have to be reality based.
Okay.
It could be.
All right. John made his own question. I got it. John made his own answer. Matt Weaver.
I think I'm trying to collect my thoughts after that because
John be doing that
think
shit.
Boneless Thugs didn't get the traction I thought that it was going to get.
COVID.
Even though it was successful, but I thought it could have gone further. So
I thought COVID fucked that up. I thought it was doing so well. It was doing so well that I thought for sure Bone fans were going to get behind, Buffalo Wild Wings, and they would see some sort of small spike that would have made them go, we should do another one of these. And I think they planned on it being big because they did that temporary, like, buy it while it's here merch. And, so they put a lot behind it. So I thought for sure we were getting a part 2. And I think COVID fucked that up.
Yes, I think that's what my radar was telling me, is that enough happened around it to make it that it was probably an agreement that they'd all change their icon or their thumbnail or whatever for a little while. It was planned out, but that was a really good answer and super not at all what I thought. That never even crossed my mind. So I think
wasn't an option, Matt. Of course it didn't.
Oh, right. That's why. Okay. I'm too deep in it. So I think that most people are probably going to go with number 3. That's like my initial thought. Bone partners with Ruthless Records. And I think we beat around the bush with this discussion a lot. We, idolize East 1999, or we idolize Art of War or whatever, and it's built up some mysticism around it. The stuff that is unreleased, it might not be on that level. It won't ever recapture what you think you were hearing when you were 16 or whatever. So I think that would mess with my childhood too much, or my coming of age, maybe. And so I don't necessarily like it when people go back and meddle with let the past be the past, because there's plenty of stuff to look forward to. But I think anyone who picks that one might want to. We'll see. But the TV show one, I like John's spin on 4.1, whatever he did there. But I just don't think it's ever going to be what they want it to be. I just don't think it would work in the TV world. And I don't want to make them become TV actors if they don't want to. But that might make them the most money. And that's all. My answer is almost always what's going to make them the most successful, right? Because I just wish them nothing but success in whatever they're trying to do. So that one might pay them the most nowadays with the way the music industry is, right? But I think the most likely we'll get in reality is number 1. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. But I'm holding out for 2024. We don't know what 2024 is going to bring, and that seems to be the magic number right now. But for me, I'm definitely going with number 2. Bone signs a lucrative record deal at a major record label, with Bone having full creative control. Because in my mind, this was Uni5 cuts. Like, what could Uni5? Why was there a think tank if it didn't work out the way it worked out? So sometimes when I listen to you two guys talk about Faces of Death and the mystery behind it or wanting to unravel it, for me, I've probably spent more time trying to find what went wrong with Uni5 than I have on Faces of Death. What could it have been? Why wasn't it just a double CD with all the songs that were cut? So many questions. And I think that they definitely have another Uni5 in them. The most potential for happy Bone fans, I think, lies in number 2. Because I think they still have plenty left in the tank. But can we get all 5 of them to agree to the finances, right? That's the real question. Final answer, number 2.
Yeah. And, you raise an interesting point with, them having creative control at a major record label, because I think that most people would say that the thing that went wrong with Uni5 is that the label took control of it. We know that video with DJ Unique. He's like, yeah, we had all these fucking bangers and the label took control, and then you guys got what you got. And everybody's always pissed that the stuff at the think tank isn't what ended up as the album. So that's a really good point, because, I was absolutely going to tear apart the fact that I can't think of a time that Bone has been in full control of their record and that it was great. I think of a lot of independent releases by Busy, by, you know, Lazy. And I'm just like, I don't know, motherfucker, if their finger should be on the button. So that, you know, that's tough. But the Unify, it does sound like the shit that is unreleased is what should have been the album. And I think the majority, talking 90 to 95% of Bone fans, would say that's the Unify we wanted. And I do think that if that's the one we would have got, that wouldn't be such an eyesore for Bone fans. I know it is for me. Like Unify gets the fucking skip, the skipola real quick. So interesting point, Matt. Let me round it out here. Bone continues to focus on their current projects. Nope, I'm out on that. They've fucking focused on these current projects for so long. And let me tell you what focusing on our current projects gets us. It gets us a fucking anniversary edition of albums that never come out and fucking solo albums that don't do much to move the brand, and a Wishbone album that's never come out. And that's it. The only fucking focus that I'll be happy to see continue is Flesh and Bone continuing to focus on his pursuing his comedy tour. Flesh and Bone gets 27 thumbs up for me for all the comedy that he's bringing, everything like that. But Bone continuing to focus on all their projects, like I'm all set with that. So we'll throw that one right the fuck out. Bone signs a lucrative record deal at a major record label, Bone having full creative control. Based on what Matt said, that one went from low on my list to a very, very tempting option. And the only reason I was going to completely shut that down was because of what I said. It's like, I want them to make a ton of money. I definitely want a new Bone Thugs and Harmony album. In fact, you guys know I want a new Bone Thugs and Harmony album, regardless of if Busy's involved or not. I would take a Bone Thugs and Harmony album with the other four members at this point. So I really want a Bone Thugs and Harmony album. That one's fucking tough right now. Matt made that one tough. I was gonna shoot the holes through that motherfucker. I'll skip over number 3 and go with John's fucking TV show. John made that one tempting too with the TV show. I didn't care about having just like another Bone documentary stretched out over 22 episodes. John's presentation made it pretty tempting. Originally, I just pictured Future Shock or whatever stretched over fucking 22 hours. And I was just like, I can't handle that shit. I'm out. That wasn't for me, but Boneless Thugs and Harmony as a full TV show, I will say that is something I'd want to see Busy involved in. Like Busy's great. So he's a fun actor. Again, I would take it without him. But that TV show just wouldn't be the same. I think of I Tried, right? Mm-hmm. The I Tried movie. And it's just like everything that you could possibly say about it aside, it's like it just wasn't right without Busy. Like that, the album to me was almost fine, but that fucking movie without Busy, like I don't know how the album made more sense without Busy than that movie, but that movie I was just like, dog, I can't get into this. So Busy would have to be involved for that to be my pick. Bone partnering with Ruthless Records to promote the release of all previously unheard Ruthless-owned Bone music. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know if Matt knew that this was going to be my pick, but man, is this my pick. This is my pick. This is the pick of pick. This is the king of kings. This is what it is. And it's not even what it is because it's what it should be. It's what it is because every Bone fan that ever has a gripe or a cry or something to bitch about or a negative post or an Instagram story or some bullshit to put up goes, why don't you just rap the way you did back in 1995? Why don't you just do the Bone style? Why don't you guys just get along and do this? Do this. If Bone could get in a room with Tamika and work it out to not just release. I don't want unfinished pieces of shit, because everything Matt said was so true. If you just take what's sitting there unfinished on some reel-to-reel DAT tape or some shit and you just release it, we just got the internet on a fucking CD. It's gonna suck. But if you could actually have like Unique and these guys come in and say, all right, I'm going to finish these. So I don't want Bone coming in and re-recording. I don't want them writing new shit. I don't want Bone touching it outside of them having input the way they would have in the 90s when working with like someone with like Unique. But if you can have the teams that were around Eternal, around Art of War, come in and actually finish these songs, and then they could be put out and like, you know, done and presented in a way that this is actually a new album, man, it number one, it would get me charged up, as long as it was, I mean, let's be real, 94, 95, 96, 97. Once we get 98-ish, we're getting in the gray a little bit of shit I don't necessarily want to hear, but I would take some 98. By 99, everything is different. Even though Thug Mentality 1999 is like a heavy hitter, like things are very different. So it would have to be in that 4-year span. It would have to have Unique's input. We would have to see like Bone fully involved. And then I think what this does is, if this record doesn't blow the fuck up, and I'm not saying the Crossroads blow up, because the Crossroads has special circumstances where non-Bone fans love that record. Okay. So I don't think you're going to get those fans to come back in, but the hardcore fans that cry and pout and moan and say they want this style, we want this style of 19-year-olds, how do you 50-year-old guys? For every Bone fan that says that, if this record came out and it didn't at least do top, we'll say 20 numbers, then it would put Bone fans on the chopping block to be full of shit. Because if you release a 94 to 98 based unreleased album that is finished off, and I'll be real, I'll even say it being presented by Ruthless Records adds a level of nostalgia for the fans that gives motherfuckers goosebumps when they see that, you know, Eazy-E Rest in Peace logo on the back of it with that Ruthless Records logo. I think that the nostalgia of that alone makes a motherfucker go, ooh, I gotta check this out. If it didn't do numbers, it puts Bone fans, not Bone, it puts Bone fans ass to the fire and proves that every time someone complains about that, it's a lie. So I think that my pick would have to be that one, because it would make Bone fans show and prove. And number two, it would give us this music that we desire, as long as it wasn't presented in the way that Matt said, which is, yeah, we got all that shit. Here it is. We'll put it out. Just all unfinished. There's a big instrumental chunk between motherfuckers' verses. You know, you can hear Wishbone coughing in the background, smoking weed. I don't want that shit. But if we can finish it out, I'll take that. And I will just say it would have to be followed very, very, very fucking closely by number two, them signing the record deal and them having full control. And that wouldn't have been my pick. John's pick would have been my pick until Matt put it in perspective and said Unify. And I was like, man, if we would have got Unify the way they meant it to be, we would have had a classic album. So that's my pick, guys. I gotta go with the Ruthless album, but it's gotta have all my little things. If it's not done that way, then it can't be done.
Well, let's enhance, because that idea is beautiful. I almost hope that somebody hears this and makes it happen. But let's put some extra sprinkles on top to really throw that nostalgia of that gift out of nowhere that we got was the collection. And, you know, it was just like so much extra. And then we got Art of War double CD. We never saw that coming. So imagine if this unreleased album that we're talking has real deal unreleased songs. And then disc 2 is Bone doing all of the rumored songs over 25 years, like Everyday Tang with Wu-Tang, Thuggish Eruption by Busy, but the whole group. And like all these fake songs that we've been reading about for years, the Wishmaster.
No,
if they like it, because all the concepts are created. You see what I'm saying?
You're wrecking it, John.
I'm wrecking.
You're wrecking it. You're killing it for me.
I keep thinking of.
I just told you I don't want Bone recording anything new.
Okay, well,
I don't want Bone doing anything new. Though. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if it's 14 fucking CDs. Like I don't want Bone recording anything new for a Ruthless Records release. It's gotta be. You know, it's got to be, and like I said, it can't even be outside of that time frame because the THUGS Ruthless release, some of those songs are cool and shit, but you know, those aren't my shit either. So
I want it to be 94 and 97 is the dead cutoff. I don't even want Art of War era. It's got to be, but it could be like the Mo Thug era. But
I'd take Art of War. Unreleased is good. The reason why you hate all that shit is because it came from a fucking tape that sounds like shit, and it all sounds like shit, and it's all like 40% finished. If a lot of those songs like that Busy Bone, The War Is On or whatever was like finished, like damn, that's a great song. So it's like, you know, it's got to be finished, and it's got to be finished by the right person. I can't have somebody that's never worked with Bone finishing off fucking songs from 97. It's got to be it essentially it's got to be unique. I mean, it's got to be unique. So, and I don't want anything after that. I mean, 97, because you know, 97, that's Art of War, bro. 98 is like Mo Thugs 2.
Yeah.
So I would take Mo Thugs 2 Error. Bone was still cool then. Like they were still doing it.
But like Romeo, like all the Romeo era, whatever he's on, I'm good with hearing whatever that was.
98.
Yeah.
It's not till 99 that things get start to get crazy.
All right.
99.
I'll take them up to 98.
And even like I said, I mean, Thug Mentality, I mean, what a classic. You know, it's a classic of classics, but that is like the directional turn in the sound was I mean, essentially Crazy Bone is who opened up the floodgates for let's change the sound a little bit with his solo record. I don't think people acknowledge that, but it's like up until Thug Mentality 99, everything that you heard fell under the Bone sound, even though a lot of it's different. Fucking Family Reunion doesn't sound like Creeping on a Come Up, but it still falls under that banner. Crazy Bone Thug Mentality 99 is the first thing that it's like, bro, we got shit that's smoke and burn. That doesn't fit anywhere. That doesn't fit anywhere in the column anywhere. So
let me ask you this. If the 22 episode series wasn't necessarily like what you thought it was, what you explained with the Future Shock, but it was more of what Romeo Antonio was talking about, that he wanted to do like a extended real story of St. Clair, like the 22 episode version of Sons of St. Clair, Romeo Antonio style, what he presented.
Well,
over the Boneless Thugs and Harmony, or does the sitcom override?
To appropriately answer this question, I feel like you would have to have seen Sons of St. Clair. So I don't.
But I'm saying what Romeo described to us. Remember when we were on the
No, I remember basically, because I don't know if I've released that part or not. Romeo said, "Hey, you know, Sons of Sinclair is only supposed to be one of multiple parts. So the first part is Busy and Crazy, but then we're also got a Lazy, and maybe he said Lazy and Flesh, and then you know, I don't know how it was broken up. Over 22 episodes. No, I don't want to see that. Because
well, do you think that because episode 1 is going to be the Greyhound bus, or episode 2 is going to be the Greyhound bus? So if that gets solidified in an episode,
if episode 1 isn't Band-Aid Boys and Bone Enterprise, I'll turn it off.
Yeah. I think like my caveat would be, if I took that, episode 22 would have to be them walking out on stage with Eazy-E in Cleveland. That would have to be the end. And then the story would just have to be the struggle to get there.
For the 22 episodes, yeah,
like it would have to be them in junior high.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I could fuck with that. I could fuck with like the Kids and Bone or Bloodline Harmony. Because at one point I remember them posting that there was going to be a movie based on Bone, and they were going to play it. Little Easy was going to play Easy E, and I could fuck with something like that if the production was Boneless Thugs and Harmony level, or like Sons of Sinclair level, something like that.
So like the New Edition biopic, which seems to be the thing that created the whole biopic craze, was the success of the New Edition biopic. So if it was done like that over 22, would you want that? And I'm not trying to get you to go away
22 episodes seems like a lot for this situation. So it's like, it wouldn't be bad, but every episode would have to have that unique, not DJ unique, like a unique episode. You know, it would have to feel like a TV show then. Like, so, you know, the way you watch like a season of a TV show, like it would have to, I guess, all connect, but each episode still has to have its own like basis. Like it couldn't then feel like a documentary at all. I don't want to watch a 22-part fucking documentary. I don't give a fuck if they're half-hour episodes, but yeah, I mean, if it was,
well, you'd have an episode of Wish shooting, or Crazy Bone shooting Wish in the leg, and
yeah, like if all those kind of things, and that was the big part from this episode, is like I could fuck with that. I mean, I could get with that.
And the thing is, they have a 25 plus year career, so having a 22-part series,
yeah, but it's like Matt said, I don't want to watch any episodes about Unifive or anything.
You want to see Busy's ball-headed era, how that gets portrayed.
I don't want to see any of that. Matt's ending of them making it, and then them, you know, them walking out to do a show, or them showing up to do Thuggish Ruggish Bone, you know what I'm saying? Like them walking into the city with Easy E to do Thuggish Ruggish Bone. That's a great ending. I want to see all the lead up, because everything after that, it's like, has been driven down our fucking faces to such an extent that it's like, if I got to watch an episode on any of this shit, it's just like, who gives a fuck? So it's all that stuff that I want to see before.
Ouija board in the graveyard.
Oh man, what a good episode. What a good
bro, the scene when
them asking K Chill if K Chill wants to do it, and K Chill just bailing out.
The possibilities are endless, bro.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, bro, I'll put it to you like this. All three of us, for like one of the first times, like this multiple choice was fun that Aaron gave us, because we all picked different ones. And for probably the first time in question of the week history, you both raised a point that made me go, ooh, motherfucker, that's pretty good. You both almost swayed my answer. I'm sticking firm with mine just because I want that music. But out of those three, mine is the least likely to happen. I would say probably followed by them getting the major record deal, because let's face it, Bone not getting a record deal is pretty much on Bone. Like I don't think that there's many labels out there that if Bone Thugs and Harmony like pursued a major record deal with like Def Jam, that Def Jam would be like, fuck Bone Thugs and Harmony, no way. Like I think that they could have that fairly easy if they wanted it. I do think that Def Jam would go, yeah, is Busy going to be involved with this? And you know, the TV thing, if it was pitched correctly, I think that's possible. The most possible is number one, which is Bone continues to just focus on the shit they're doing. And that's what happens. So I guess that's the most likely. My pick may be the least likely here, because Tamika is just like, it's mine. Nope, that shit's mine.
Is there a particular unreleased song that you would like to hear, you know, on that album that you could think of off the top of your head?
I mean, no, I would have to go on the list and narrow down that 94 to 98.
Or would you want it to just be all things you never even knew about, like the stuff that's in Archie Blaine's basement, the stuff that, you know, Romeo's got stored away?
It would have to be Romeo. The Archie shit is like Faces of Death era, and as cool as that is, like I don't want that put out. Like out of these picks, if it wasn't Teaming Ruthless, if it was just like, oh, we'll just get a bunch of unreleased songs, and you're like, here's a Bone song from '92, I'd just be like, nah, that can't be my pick.
Let me ask you this though. Okay, so if
I want that shit unique, Scott. Not okay. Romeo comes in at the very end of the era, in my opinion. Like he came in like 96 and then really became like real relevant, I would say, in that 97, 98. I want the shit that Unique's got.
So would you rather have a 94 to 98 Unique Tony C album, you know, all Ruthless recordings, or if there was a Band-Aid Boys / Busy Bass and Treble / Sons of Assassins 20-track disc, which do you select?
Like that, or like the Unique Ruthless thing?
Yeah.
Oh, the Unique Ruthless thing all fucking day. Like I want that other thing, but it's not like on my list of if I had to pick one or the other, I would go with that shit, because like I love Faces of Death era because of what it represents and what it is, but not because like, dog, I've talked about Bone Enterprise 2 bazillion times more than I've ever listened to that record. Like I listen to that record out of like necessity, not out of like whatever. Like when people try to drive it at me and they're like, yeah, bro, like this is some of their best music, like that Def Dick, dog. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hellsend, I see why people, you know, dick ride Hellsend, and we always say it. Hellsend has got to be like one of the last songs they made for that album because it's the closest to Creeping on a Come Up in terms of their style. But even that, like I'm not sitting in my car drive 1 2, but could you imagine I pull up to the stoplight and like that's what's starting, car full of girls, and I'm just like bobbing my head to the creepy Hellsend shit? Nah, that ain't the move, bro. That ain't the move. It's got to be the Ruthless thing. I'm glad we all picked different things though.
Yeah, all great perspectives.
Do we all agree that number one is the most possible?
I don't need any more current projects without professionality. I need the new waves. Like since I tasted new waves and know what could be, it's like now it's like giving a dog human food. I'm tainted. Like I'm spoiled now. And not only that, you know, seeing the whole production staff manufacturing an album that all Bone had to do was show up and perform. That's all I want now. And the reason why is I have 20 years of solo albums and unreleased music and features and like the whole 200 plus album catalog. Now I don't need quantity anymore. I have so much quantity that all I want going forward is quality.
But the sidebar to that is Busy Bone's last 2 albums are independently phenomenal. And if you're basing it off the snippets we've heard and like the visual, the small visuals we've seen as of this recording, it looks like his next independent record is going to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, they're all those projects with Blaze are awesome. They're awesome, but they're still not the record label mainstream feel. Like for instance, when you heard the Mizza version of Coming Home before New Waves was even like a name yet,
I hated it.
You hated it? To me, it recaptured like, wow, this is
the Demizza version.
The Demizza version, yeah, with TQ.
Of Coming Home. I was thinking of, I don't know. My mind instantly went to Bottle Service. I was like, what in the fuck is wrong?
No. When I heard
Coming Home was cool, but nah. I mean, when I first heard it, like I wasn't like, oh shit, Bone is back. Like Bone's got a bunch of Bone songs with singing motherfuckers.
To me, it felt like it was from not necessarily like the Creeping on a Come Up era, but it was like those soundtracks, the feeling we got when we got like Days of Our Lives and Shoot 'Em Up and all that and Everyday Thing. Like it felt like they recaptured something. And I think it's because of TQ. I'm not sure what it was, but this song, like I felt it like in my body, and I was like, I haven't felt this from Bone like this in a while. So that's what I want is just real thought out for the masses. I don't want it for the Bone fans. I want it for the masses, but done really good, because Bones made a lot of pop songs that were attempts that just felt cookie cutter, and they didn't feel like divinely inspired the way when they were in their prime. So that, yeah, I'm looking for quality Bone stuff at this point.
I know that you hate this, but I definitely like the album version of Coming Home more than the TQ version. I think I just think you're a TQ guy is what it is.
Well, I am a TQ guy almost as much as I'm a Bone guy, but not quite there. But TQ, if I want TQ to be like a staple, I want him to be the in-house musician for Bone to just drop choruses whenever they can't do it.
Well, speaking of staples, I'm a Hell's Good guy, and I want to remind everybody that this week's question of the week was sponsored by Hell's Good Guy. The links to purchase the book at Amazon.com and at Amazon.co.uk, and all the other outlets are in the description of the video below.
Finally, what follows is a small snippet from chapter 1 of the book, Hell's Good Guy. Alexander, we are about to begin your afterlife trial. The discussion we will have will allow me to determine whether you go into heaven, into hell, back to earth via reincarnation, or are put to perpetual sleep. In the best interest of the process, we may all have one-to-one private conversations in the acoustically manipulated consultation zone.
That's a small snippet from Hell's Good Guy. This is the question of the week. And on behalf of the whole